Last month, the GPA voted 90% in favour of abolishing pre-season competitions at their AGM. Over 100 delegates took counsel from the rest of their membership, and they will now go forward to lobby the GAA to abolish pre-season competition. But pre-season will still continue in 2024. The GPA have warned that some of their members may not participate in that. It's a debate that's going to rage for the next 12 months or so, and I'm joined by Ciaran Fitzgerald from Corofin in Galway and Lee Keegan from Westport and Mayo to discuss it as well. Ciaran, just your thoughts on it. I mean, you had a stellar career with Galway going back over 2 decades, I guess. What did pre-season mean to you? Was it groans and aches and pains, or was it something you had to do to try and get the pitch for your season? But the season has changed so much in make-up since you were playing even.
Yeah, for sure, it has changed totally. For me, you know, the training load was a little bit different than what they do now. Pre-season games were nearly used just to get into tune for the first National League game. Now, Sigerson, there's so many competitions, there's so many games, an awful lot of games to cram into such a short period of time. Now, the only thing, and I mentioned, I was talking to Lee about it a few minutes ago, that void, if the pre-season games do go, that void will still be there. And you know, we can be naive
by challenge matches.
Yeah, we'd be totally naive to think that managers and players are not going to be going the length and breadth of the country to play challenge matches. And sometimes, you know, you're on a bus going up to Dublin from Galway to play a challenge match. It can be as mentally fatiguing as anything, you know. And the pre-season games are, I say, fringe players. They get a great opportunity in pre-season games. If there isn't those games, maybe they don't get that opportunity. But for sure, I can totally understand the training load and the amount of games that are being played, and you know the time scale, the National League running into the National League and then running into the Championship. So there's arguments both sides.
What do you think, Lee?
For me personally, I'd banish them. I do agree in some aspects of where Ciaran is coming from, and I suppose we had great incentive when I played the FPD many years ago. We got a great trip to New York if we won FPD. That's why we didn't win too many after 12.
As incentive is good.
We were very successful in the pre-season competition.
A lot of teams were. But
you're the only player to peak in January.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. I just find with the tight schedule, the calendar's so tight. I just feel like we're putting more risk of players, injuries. National League starts in January, just that short time frame doesn't give players enough time, and I feel the integrity probably has lost a little bit. You know, we were mentioning the Burn Cup last year and teams not fulfilling fixtures. It's not a good look in the competition. So, I mean, we're on a bit McKenna Cup as well. Ulster always seems to be able to make a huge focus and effort to play the competition.
So challenge you on that then, Lee. McKenna Cup, you could get 10,000 people at a game. They're absolutely football mad up there that time of year, football mad in general anyway. That brings in revenue and that will pay for something. Could you see the other side of it too, the argument for keeping pre-season?
But we're only talking about McKenna Cup really, because again, it seems to be Ulster, and even from a provincial perspective, that they dominate everything in terms of competitiveness. I just feel with the amount of games we have in this short space of time, do we need another competition to fulfil? Like, we're on about revenue, but there's enough revenue made through league, through the provincial, through the new system that we have. So I don't necessarily see the point of it for players anymore, because they're training all year round anyway. So teams are already back doing pre-season. So
Paul Bellew, the Galway chairman, came out and said that if we don't have pre-season, there's just going to be challenge matches anyway. Interestingly enough, just about maybe 2 years ago, the GAA looked into this themselves, and their recommendation was that maybe pre-season should be halted at this stage. So that hasn't been enforced. The GPA are clamouring for it again. What would be the reasons, Ciaran, in your opinion, for maybe maintaining this pre-season campaign going forward when you have league, you have provincials, you have the round robin, and then you have the All-Ireland series?
Maybe if the revenue for the pre-season was designated for some sort of player welfare fund or something like that, that could be a possibility. I know, just like in regards to challenge matches and that sort of thing, I'd be just concerned in where where managers are going to look to find new players. And from my point of view, if there's revenue to be made in the pre-season competitions, it's going to continue. In McKenna Cup, you get 12,000. In the FPD, in the Dome, you're going to get, I don't know what that holds.
2,000.
2,000 people. That's going to be full.
Seated,
There's probably going to be 4 or 5 games in that Dome. It's going to be full. You can be sure it's going to be full. And O'Byrne Cup and McGrath Cup maybe less so. But
Jack O'Connor went fairly strong with the McGrath Cup the year they won it. He had all his top players playing from start, and he kind of set a tone and set a culture. So is that what they're looking for as well, managers maybe?
Yeah, managers, I suppose it depends on where teams are in their say lifespan, or what new managers coming in. They'll focus on that. Managers that have been there a while. Well, UC Dublin have played second string teams all the way along. Then you have Kerry. Jack O'Connor was back last year, gave the McGrath Cup serious consideration. You see Pádraig Joyce has in the past.
Yeah.
You know, so it depends on the where managers are basically at in their lifespan.
A final one for you, Solly. The GPA have maybe discussed the prospect of players not participating, at certain junctures, not everybody, but is that a possibility, and will that make much of a difference going forward? What's your final view on this? Can you see it changing in the next 2 or 3 years?
Probably not, Damien. I always look at the Cliffords, for example. They're back-to-back fully around, and that's down to their success. But the reality is, them guys need a break at some stage. So by trying, I don't understand what Jack was doing when he's putting them out, lay a stall down his first year. But I don't, for me anyway, I personally I'm just looking from the Mayo perspective probably, is that there just isn't that enticement with the FBD anymore. They won it last year and they went really hard. But what happened then? They went hard in the league and then they just burnt out towards the tail end of the year, the most important part of the year. So for me, I think it's about just nailing down your roots in terms of a good pre-season and getting back in training, and then league starts in January, so you're away then. Okay, League, Ciaran, thanks very much for that. Pre-season competition is just another issue for the GPA and GEA to discuss among a catalogue of issues.